A 13-year-old elementary school student stabbed his 17-year-old cousin's sister over 20 times, then attempted to assault her. Unable to find the entrance, he cut off her 10 fingers and forcibly shoved them into her private parts. When they wouldn't fit, he kicked her repeatedly. Later, when the family realized the girl was missing, the boy used his strong counter-investigation skills, posing as an eyewitness, even being praised as a good Samaritan. How was this case eventually solved? And why did this devil boy do such things to his sister? On May 17, 2002, Li Ying, a 17-year-old girl from Zhongjiang County, Dayang City, Sichuan Province, mysteriously disappeared. She was a middle school junior about to take her high school entrance exams. According to her teachers and parents, Li Ying had left school after class and should have gone home to study. But by late that night, she still hadn't returned, so her parents reported her missing. As everyone anxiously searched for her, Li Yong, her 13-year-old cousin, came forward with a story. Li Yong claimed that on his way home from school, he had to pee and went off the path. Then he suddenly heard someone screaming. When he went to check, he saw his sister, Li Ying, being hacked at with a cleaver by 2 strangers. He said he rushed to help, and the 2 men fled. To get Li Ying to the hospital, he ran back to the village for help. Li Yong recounted the incident calmly and clearly, earning praise from the villagers for his bravery. They followed him to the crime scene, a remote, mountainous area rarely visited by locals. When the police arrived, they found Li Ying barely alive, lying in a pool of blood. Her fingers had been severed, her body covered in stab wounds, and her head split open by a deep gash. Most horrifyingly, her lower body was bruised and swollen, showing signs of criminal assault. With her last breath, Li Ying whispered to her mother, "It was Yong." Then she died. The gruesome details of the case spread quickly, causing panic in the community. The school and police worked urgently to solve it. Following Li Ying's dying words, the principal compiled a list of all students with Yong in their names and had Li Yong identify the killer. But after reviewing them, Li Yong insisted none were the culprits. Investigating further, police found the crime scene, a secluded grove far from main roads. It was too well hidden for outsiders to stumble upon. Villagers also confirmed no strangers had been seen recently. Suspicion grew around Li Yong's story. And Li Yong, also named Yong. When confronted, Li Yong hesitated at first. Then, realizing that as a minor, he wouldn't face serious consequences. Then he confessed. Police recovered the tool where he dumped it, matching it to the wounds. His detailed knowledge of the scene confirmed his guilt. This 13-year-old boy was no ordinary child. His mind worked in terrifying ways. With unnerving cunning and a knack for deception, he demonstrated investigative awareness far beyond his years. But why would a 13-year-old boy, described by teachers as a well-behaved honest student, brutally killed his own cousin? Li Yong admitted he killed Li Ying because she caught him stealing. This revelation shocked everyone who knew him. Teachers and classmates described him as quiet but kind, nothing like a criminal. All of his classmates felt horrified. However, police discovered Li Yong had a long history of theft, having stolen from nearly every household in the village. Once even taking 1,200 yuan, it was a huge sum in 2002. His biggest theft happened at his aunt's house. While she was out washing clothes, he ransacked her bedroom in just 5 minutes. The noise woke his uncle, who threatened to expose him at school unless he returned the money. Fearing disgrace, Li Yong complied, but the beating he got from his father only taught him to avoid getting caught, not to stop stealing. On the day of the case, Li Ying caught him red-handed. After returning the money, Li Yong grew paranoid she'd tell others, ruining his reputation and inviting another beating. He never dreamed that could happen again. Remembering a movie line, "Dead men tell no tales," he decided to silence her permanently. At just 13 years old, Li Yong was still so young. He thought killing someone seemed as simple as the violent scenes in movies. So he began to plan everything. On May 17th, When Li Yong saw Li Ying walking home alone, he thought it was time. First, he called out to her, luring her onto a pre-selected secluded path. Then, he pulled out a kitchen knife he'd prepared in advance and hacked at Li Ying multiple times. Caught completely off guard, Li Ying collapsed. Li Yong, mimicking erotic scenes from movies, then tried to assault her. But at just 13, his body wasn't fully developed. He had no experience and couldn't find the way. Frustrated and enraged, he took the knife and severed all 10 of Li Ying's fingers. Then, he forced them into her private parts. When they wouldn't fit, he kicked them deeper, stomping until they were packed tightly inside. When describing these details, Li Yong remained eerily calm. There wasn't a trace of remorse or fear. To him, it all seemed utterly ordinary. He even repeated the words, "Dead men tell no tales." His demeanor sent chills down the spines of the interrogating officers. All this, the brutal criminal of his own cousin, just because he was afraid she'd expose his petty theft? Without any remorse? What could possibly drive a child to think this way? Why was he so obsessed with stealing? And what was he even spending the money on? With these questions in mind, police turned to Li Yong's parents, digging for deeper answers. Unsurprisingly, the root of his behavior lay in his upbringing. Li Yong was the family's second child, a long-awaited son after his parents' strong preference for a boy. After their firstborn daughter, his mother had suffered multiple miscarriages, desperate for a male heir. So from birth, Li Yong was spoiled. His mother obeyed his every whim, never educated him. And Li Yong played his part well, a top student, showered with praise in every teacher's report card. His father, proud of his academic success, eased up on discipline, except for the occasional beating when he was caught stealing. Otherwise, they blindly trusted him. As he grew older, Li Yong was exposed to violent movies and video games. He began imitating the protagonists, mimicking their actions. With no one to correct him or teach him right from wrong, he turned to violence whenever things didn't go his way. Not only that, his gaming addiction led him to a group of younger followers. Every weekend, he'd sneak into town with his crew, gaming for hours on end. Before heading home, he'd treat them to lavish meals, crab, lobster, the works, racking up bills in the hundreds. He was like a leader. The followers' flattery fed his ego, and soon, he was addicted to the status. But maintaining this image wasn't cheap. His allowance was nowhere near enough. So he turned to theft. His parents knew about his gaming habit, but since his grades never slipped, they let it slide. Only after the case did his father finally regret his negligence. He'd only ever cared about the glowing reports from teachers, assuming his son needed no further guidance. Psychological and moral education? That had never even crossed their minds. And now, their oversight had led to tragedy. In the end, the court sentenced Li Yong to just 3 years in a juvenile detention center, for he wasn't yet 16. When the verdict was read, he cried. But no one could tell, were those tears of remorse, or just fear of what awaited him? That concludes today's case. What are your thoughts? Share your reactions in the comments. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this case, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow Case Diaries. There are plenty more cases coming your way. Got thoughts on today's story? Drop them in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. See you in the next one.